Morning folks, I'm going to do a cut 2 here because I got halfway through the last video and managed to accidentally switch the bleeding thing off, so we're going to try again here. We're in the grounds here, we're on the Isle of Wight, and I'm actually in the grounds of Queen Victoria's old house, Osborne House it's called. It's in East Cowes on the Isle of Wight, and so I managed to find a secluded place where no one seems to be able to see me, and I thought this might be a good spot to do a quick review and have a quick ride around some of their little trails they've got here. It's a lovely old place. But what we're looking at today, we're going to be looking at the Moto-Tek handguard mounted mirrors. Now, I've posted a pre-review on the site and on social media. We've had loads and loads of comments and discussion about them, so let's see if we can put some of those comments, discussions to bed. Either we'll agree with them or we'll disagree with them. As per usual, most of the prolific comments always seem to come from people who haven't actually used the bloody things before, but hey ho. So maybe this video will just enlighten a few people as to how these work. Are they going to smash to smithereens as soon as your bike goes down? Answer to that's no. And are they decent quality? So let's go around. What I'm going to do, I'm on my own here, I've got no one to help me with this video, so I'm just going to go around and I'm going to mount the bike first. No comments please. And make sure I don't switch the damn thing off this time. What I want to do here is just give you a view of what it looks like to have these mounted, look. So suddenly the double tape adventure mirrors which I had on have been removed. If you've got stock, you can imagine they sit pretty much in the same place. These don't. These give you a completely unobstructed view of the road, and I love that, or the track, or wherever you are. There is nothing in front of me suddenly. I've got a panoramic view. So what you're looking at now is that ahead of you, instead of having a couple of mirrors here or a couple of mirrors here. Instead you've got that nice open view, and that does make me quite happy. As far as the actual view of the road behind you, these are fine. They show up the road. They're not double take adventure mirrors. These are probably about 2/3 the size of the double take, so you're not going to get the same rear view as you would if you were using your stock mirrors or your double take adventure mirrors, but these are adequate. I've had smaller mirrors before on bikes and didn't like them. I always chucked them away because, quite frankly, the mirror is there so I can see what's behind me. If I can't see what's behind me, there's no point in having them, as good as they might look. These ones, however, are adequate, and I'm quite pleased with those. I'm quite relieved actually that they do give me a reasonable view of the rear. Okay, let me try and get off the bike without switching the video off this time, and we'll take a closer look at the actual mirrors themselves. Now, if I just put my hand on here and just wobble it, look, I can wobble the whole bike with these. They are strong, they sit sturdily in place, they don't vibrate when you're riding along, and they don't move. If you're going to move them, I'll show you how to move them. You've got to put some pressure on these, quite a bit of pressure to move those, and there you go. So they do and will stay in place quite nicely. Wherever you put them, that's where they're going to be, and it won't make a difference whether you're flying down the motorway at 90 or 100 miles an hour or whether you're toddling along off-road. These are not going to move. The stems, again, really sturdy, and the brackets. Now the bracket, you'll notice what you've got to do with that bracket. In order to mount that bracket, you drill 2 holes into your handguard, and you can see that I've done that there. The only difference that I've done is that I have got rid of the standard bolts which came with them. There was nothing wrong with them, but I quite like the idea of having the install a bit neater and having those bolts countersunk. So I happen to have 4 stainless steel countersunk bolts in my garage, and so that's what I've used. I made some countersunk holes. I actually used a wood bit to do that because the aluminium is so soft, so that worked fine. And that's how those are now mounted. Now on the inside, one thing I've done slightly different, I've left those bolts slightly longer than they need to be, but I have put, if you can see there, nylon locking nuts on each one. So these things now are effectively, they're like welded to the guard. There's no way they're going to come off, and the structural integrity of the guard itself is not affected at all. It is as strong as you'd need it to be. Now, with regards to falling with these, if you fell with these, so let's say you fall now in the position I've got them, what's going to happen is they're just going to push over like that. So these will push nicely over, and if I look at where my hand is compared to, if I now push those over, look, these are not going to chop my hands off as they go across. I've just loosened that a little bit, but these are not going to chop my hands off. They will just glide across, sit on top of your hands there. Your hands are obviously going to be gloved, and so that's really not a major problem. Some people have said, oh goodness, these are going to guillotine your hands off. They're not. There's too much movement, and you've got movement in this, you've got movement in this, and so it's going to basically sit on top of your hand, but it's not going to cut them off. All right, if we move around here, try and show you the look from the front. What I do like about this is that I always thought the Tenere, it looks quite tall and a bit skinny at the front, whereas with these mirrors, with the stock mirrors now gone or the double takes gone, the bike doesn't look as tall as it did before. It just looks a little chunkier at the front, so aesthetically that's quite pleasing. So there we go. As far as quality is concerned, look, I don't know whether these are the same as the ones they sell in the Netherlands at 170 euros for the kit. I've got no idea. It looks suspiciously the same to me. If you look at the other video which I put in the review from Nomad Sweden, he got the same box. It looked like he took out the same mirrors, and the only difference that I could see in his set was the applied logo to the actual little bracket here, so it had the Rottweiler logo on it. Other than that, I couldn't see any difference whatsoever, but obviously I've not handled those guards that he had, and I've not handled the ones which are from Rottweiler themselves that use, I think, the CTG mirrors. Those mirrors might be slightly better quality, I don't know, but at the end of the day, look, I can't quite see what it is you would want to be any better than these. I mean, the quality of the actual mirror itself is nice. They're well put together, they're sturdy. The mirror itself, look, is crystal clear. You can see the reflection now of the phone in them. No problem there at all. Will they get scratched if a branch hits them? I don't know. But quite frankly, they're not all that expensive to replace. So if after a couple of years of use I need to replace these, well, we can do so fairly cheaply. And we're not we're talking about the 350 quid which would cost me to replace a full set of the Rottweilers, despite the fact I know Rottweilers do, I think they replace the glass for you for free, but probably at 350 quid a set they probably should do. Anyways, so there we go. There are the mirrors. I like them. I'm very, very pleased with them. The double takes will not be going back on. These will be staying. I think the bike looks better. It feels better. These are lighter. They're not going to, they don't pick up the wind noise very much at all. So they're fairly aerodynamic compared to the double takes or the stock mirrors. They give me an adequate rear view, which is what we need from a mirror, and they're decent quality. And all in all, I would say for £50 shipped, first class Royal Mail, they arrived with me the next day, I can't really see how these are going to be much better, to be honest with you. I think they're cracking value for money. You can, like I said, you can put these up vertically like that. Now if you have these up vertically, look, you'll actually notice there's pretty much nothing sticking out. So if you're, you know, someone said they were over in Manila or something and they needed nothing sticking out of their bars at all when they were heading between traffic, so all right, fine, stick them up like that vertically. There's going to be no problem whatsoever, because they literally are not at that point sticking out at all. You can run them that way if you want to. You'll still get a reasonable rear view, but again, you've got nothing sticking out. So all in all, a versatile little mirror, not particularly expensive, easy to fit, no problems with that whatsoever. The fit took probably about half an hour for both the mirrors, but that was because I was being quite pedantic and also countersinking. These ones you could do it a lot quicker if need be. So there we go. This is Duncan from overlandrider.com. Do me a favor, if you find any of these videos useful, then give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Pop over to the site now and again. I will be adding to this review. Obviously we've got a review already posted which is about installation and first impressions, and now you've got the video to go with it. As I ride with these, sometimes off-road, sometimes on-road, sometimes overland touring, I will update just to let you know how these are getting on, how they're hanging in there, and if I still think that they are worth the money, which I'm sure I will. All right, take care guys, have a fantastic weekend. This is Duncan from overlandrider.com.